Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm very excited to be doing my final Malazan ranking, which what I mean by final is that this is not my final video where I rank Malazan works. This is more just my final main 10 Malazan books being ranked, because I've read them all, I've thought about these books a lot, and I didn't realize that I hadn't done a full series ranking. So I was like, oh my god, I need to go back and do that. So here I am. We're going to go by, I guess, by book. 1, 2, 3, or 1 to 2 to 3, so on and so forth. And this is how the ranking will be. The S tier is Elder God, A tier is Ascendant, B is Imperial Mage, and C is High Mage. I took out D because I don't believe any of these books are D level. None of these are below 7.5 out of 10, I believe, because these books are just absolutely amazing. They're the closest to my heart. I love the world building. I love the action scenes. I love the characters. I love everything about this series. And this will be no spoilers, so I will not be telling any details about this series. I may hint towards some things, but I will keep that very non-spoiler. But book 1, Gardens of the Moon. When I was reading this, I guess a year and a half ago, for the first time all the way through, because the first time I tried to read this book was back in 2013, when I was about 16 years old, I think. And I was not at all ready to read the series. I actually really enjoyed it. I read about half of Gardens of the Moon my first time, and I just stopped. I don't know why. I think it was just so much information at the time that I was like, okay, I'll just get back to this. And I always thought about it. I just never went back. And I finally went back a year and a half ago. So what did I think? This book is amazing. I don't know why people say this book is really hard to read. I think this book is very engaging. I love the characters. I love what's going on. Yes, you don't have the context of what's going on, like why are these events happening, but I think that is totally okay. You don't need to know everything going on in the series to enjoy it. I think this series is very enjoyable just for reading. There's so many cool creatures in this series, a lot of cool magic in this book as well that's being shown off right from the get-go in the first few chapters. And we get a lot of really cool set pieces. And the locations in this book, too, I just really love. I love Darujistan, of course, and I love the first half of the book where we're kind of jumping all over and kind of getting our foundation kind of set with the characters that we're following in this book. But I think I'm going to have to put at Ascendant, though, because this is the first book of Malazan, and I feel like there was a lot of, I guess, being held back. Like, in terms of context, as I said, it's not that big of a deal. But now that I've finished the series, I feel like this book will become Elder God level, because there's so much going on in this book that we don't know why of. And it doesn't lower the ranking that much for me, but it does just enough to where it goes down to an A. Because I don't think this is one of my favorite books in the series, but so many memorable moments happen in this book. Deadhouse Gates, Book 2. I absolutely loved this book when I was first reading it. I had no issues at all. I have a friend who I talk to often, and he is on book 8 right now, and he could not believe how much I love this book, but I do. I love the storylines in this book. I love the Chain of Dogs. I love Coltane. I love Herboric. I love Bowden. I love certain aspects of Felison's storyline. I think is very interesting. It's really challenging, and it makes you kind of face the horror and just evilness of people. And it's just, Deadhouse Gates was the book that, as I was reading it, I knew I was going to read the rest of the series. It did not become a question anymore of if I was going to continue on, because I wanted to read the entire series, but I was basically like, I'm going to give it until the end of book 3. And if I still don't like it, or I just don't respond to it, then I will not go on to book 4, because everyone loves book 3. But I think it was book 2 that I really felt like this was when Steven Erikson was sort of at his best early in the series, because these 2 books, although they take place in totally different continents, I just love this book and how it fills in sort of, or introduces a new area of the world, and we get whole new creatures, we get sort of new magics. We have a lot of fascinating storylines going on. I love the Hiboric, I love Coltane, I love Ikariam and Mappo. Those 2 are some of my favorite characters in the series. I love reading the philosophical discussions, just everything. I really, really love book 2. I do think it is one of the best books in the series. I really enjoy it. It's shorter than a lot of these books. Books 1 and 2 are quite short, actually. After that, it's all pretty consistently over 1,000 pages. But wow, the ending of Deadhouse Gates just blew me away. It was the first time that I was really like actually affected emotionally, like in fantasy, in a long time outside of like Robin Hobb. And the ending is just one of my favorites of the series. And there's a lot of great endings to the series in each book, including book 1. I really love the ending in book 1, but I think I like book 2's ending more. Wow, I love the series. Memories of Ice, though. Oh my god. This is often regarded as people's favorite. The consensus is that this is one of the best books in the series, hands down, and I would agree with them. Now, would I rate it above Deadhouse Gates? That is something that I want to kind of explore, because as much as I love Memories of Ice, I think the beginning is a little slow at times, because, well, I wouldn't even say it's the beginning, it's just more like how book 1 was. It starts off like so well and starts right off the bat with action. But Memories of Ice, it takes some time to get there, but I think this book is easily my favorite out of these 3. I love Deadhouse Gates, but I think Memories of Ice has more characters that I love. We have all of the bridge burners, we have all the different main badass characters, Anamanda Ray, Kaladin Brood, all these different characters, and Krupp. I love Krupp. Like, we have everybody here, and it's ending the story from book 1, the plot lines in book 1. So you get a lot of really great conclusions in Memories of Ice, and I love the ending of Memories of Ice. I love the Triss. I love just the way that my guts, I was punched in the gut with some of the character deaths, and I hope my washing machine isn't too loud, but I'm doing my laundry right now. But yeah, Memories of Ice is just one, like, that's objectively, I think, the best book in the series, at least in the first half, because every chapter is just like, just awesome. It's just awesome. And I love all the weird, not creatures, but characters we meet as well, including Emulsion, I believe is his name. He's like a painter who has a talking frog assistant. And I love them. I love when they show up. They don't show up often, but they show up in this book. And, like, it's just fun. Steven Erikson and Ian Esslemont, who is the co-creator of Malazan, they have really created, like, such a neat and wonderful world. I don't want to live in it, but I really love reading about it. So next is House of Chains. This one's a little harder for me because I love this book from beginning to end, but it has a lot less favorable characters, in my opinion. Mainly the character of Bitterthal. I really did not like him. I won't talk about why, but I really did not like reading about him or his storyline. And I didn't like what he does to other characters. And the ending, although I love how it was done, Steven purposely made it sort of anticlimactic because of how explosive the ending of book 3 was. So House of Chains is a little lower, in my opinion. I think I'm going to have to put it in B. I want to put it right beside Gardens of the Moon. But Gardens of the Moon just feels a lot like... It feels like a level above House of Chains for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. I loved following Casa Orlong. He's one of my... if not my favorite character of Malazan, with all 10 books counted. But I think this book just suffers a lot from following after book 3. I think book 4 would be better if, like, I took a break and, like, read a few books and just really, like, yearned to return to Malazan, because every time I finished these books, it was like a few weeks later, I would start the next one. And that was too long of a wait between every book. But I think between book 3 and 4, it definitely needs to be like a multi-week break. Because it took me too long to read this series, so I forgot a lot. But, yeah, House of Chains is the one that I, like, it's the book that the least has stuck with me. In terms of events and characters, and outside of Casa Orlong, there's not too many characters who I really enjoy following in House of Chains. So, Midnight Tides. This book, we are introduced to our final cast of characters in this one. I don't think that's a spoiler to say. I think it's a good warning to know about if you don't know it. Because we get a whole new cast of characters in this book. This is the final continent that we are exploring. And I was really nervous about that going in, because I was like, man, I just want to go back to these characters in these books, mainly Memories of Ice and Gardens of the Moon. But Midnight Tides is so special. I could not get enough of it. This was the book that took me the fastest to read. And I think it's better, if not equal to Dead House Gates. I originally ranked Midnight Tides above Memories of Ice, but I think it's right there. There's a little tiny difference between these two books. And what is that? I think it's the fact that the ending isn't as explosive as book 3, but everything else is the same level for me. I love the characters in Midnight Tides. I love the storylines. I love everything going on with Rulad. I don't want to give any spoilers, but that character specifically, I think he was just my favorite in this book. And Udanas, wow. I was just blown away by everybody in this book. Hanan Mosag, he was just a lot of fun to read about. Just a villainous guy, just doing what he does. Yeah, I love book 5. It's definitely S tier for me, Elder God. I love book 3, or book 5. It is phenomenal. And then we get to book 6. Again, this is a situation similar to book 4, where it follows after like a near perfect book, in my opinion. And this book is the longest as well, as far as I know. This book is very sloggy at times, and I don't want to say it's horrible, but I definitely think it's a C, or high mage. Like, high mage is still pretty good. I don't hate this book. I don't dislike it either. I just think it's fine. The first half of the book is really, really long, or at least the first quarter is really nice. And then there's a section that's just so long that I really enjoyed the writing of, but after that event, it just feels so slow. Excuse me, I have hiccups. But yeah, book 6, I love the characters, like the great. It continues the storyline in book 3, follows those same characters, but it's just really hard. Like, a lot of these chapters I found myself like having to skim in order to get past them. And I don't know, High Mage just seems good for the Bone Hunters. Book 6 of Malazan. Now, book 7, Reaper's Gale. I really enjoyed Reaper's Gale for the most part, and I really love how it ends the storylines in book 5, so we're back with my favorite characters. But I think book 7 is... I don't know. I don't remember too much from Reaper's Gale either, when I'm thinking of sort of how I rated House of Chains. But I really love the ending as well, though. So, I don't know. Like, this is the book that I think the least has stuck with me. And I don't know. I feel like I have to put it below House of Chains because it's definitely not at the level of Gardens of the Moon, but I think it is not as good as House of Chains. House of Chains, I feel like I was able to just breeze through that book. Reaper's Gale was more like a warm blanket where I was just taking my time, I was reading it, but I wasn't burning to read the next chapter. This was the book where I think I was just more anticipating the later books, because I knew this was the last book that would basically be, I guess, leading into the end game. Because from book 8 and on, we are completely concerned with what's going on with the final storyline. I don't want to mention anybody, but book 8 is when everything starts getting really fucking good. And speaking of book 8, I think it's my favorite book of the series. From beginning to end, it was just like Memories of Ice and Dead House Gates, so I just could not stop reading. Every chapter I felt like was amazing. I love all the characters. I love going back to sort of the locations that we haven't been to in a while. I won't say where, but Toll the Hounds, book 8, is just phenomenal. And I mentioned in my review how I was spoiled on it, and it didn't really affect my enjoyment at all. I mean, it sucked knowing what I knew, but wow, I was just really blown away by this book. If you want to know more details, please go watch my review. It is spoiler heavy, so please read the book first before watching that. But my god, this book just blew open the doors, in my opinion. Like, the last few hundred pages of this book is just insanity, in my opinion. I love the last, like, half of this book. It just does not stop, in my opinion. I love the events. I love all the different twists. I love everything going on with these characters. Like, it's really hard to talk about without spoilers or mentioning character names. But since it's book 8, I don't want to mention any names. But maybe I should only have, like, 3 per column. So I'll push Dead House Gates back down to A. Although I do think it is Elder God, but I don't want to just have, like, tons of books in one row. So I'm going to push that down. But Dust of Dreams is actually going to be a shocking one. This is the same situation as Bone Hunters, in my opinion, where a lot of this book just felt really slow for me. And I was very patient with it, though, because Steven Erikson has said before that Structurally, Dust of Dreams and not Erikson, sorry, Dust of Dreams and Crippled God are basically one big book, and they should be read as one book. But obviously, he could not publish it because we don't have that technology, and that would be so unwieldy. So a lot of Dust of Dreams is setting up for book 10. So I'm going to have to give it a C, because this is really just climbing to the end of the book, to the end of the series. And as much as I love what's going on in Dust of Dreams, and the ending is just, oh my god, I love the ending of this book. Maybe I'll push it up to B, actually, up to below Reaper's Gale. Although I love the ending, I think this book is just way too long. There's a lot going on that I just did not understand. But I did really enjoy it. I think it's an 8 out of 10, roughly. If you want to know more details, please just watch my review, because that's a lot more fresh. But, yeah, Dust of Dreams is just set up for book 10. And what do I think of book 10? Well, I'm going to have to push this back down, because I'm going to put it in S tier, obviously. But where will I put it here? Cripple God is without a doubt my favorite book in the series. I love the Cripple God. It made me cry multiple times. It's one of my favorite books in fantasy. I think it is up there with Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin, book 3 of A Song of Ice and Fire that Game of Thrones is based off of. Cripple God is just... I said in my review that it could have been 300 pages longer, and I would not have cared. And I wish it was 300 pages longer, but for what it is, and for what it's setting out to do, this book is perfect. I have 0 issues with Cripple God. It's one of my favorite books ever. I cried many times throughout this book, as I said. And the ending just really, really, really just rips my heart open. Like, all of the different twists and reveals that we got, all of the emotional payoffs that we got, because Steven Erikson is very skillful at resolving and concluding all of his storylines. I was not sure how he was going to do it, but my god, he fucking did it. This book is just phenomenal. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to talk too long either, because I have an entire spoiler discussion that I did with Dr. Philip Chase, and also my spoiler review that I did, where I basically just rambled for like half an hour about how awesome this book was. But yeah, I just love the series, obviously. Sorry, Bone Hunters, that you're the only C, but I feel bad for having Dust of Dreams in C, so I put it back up to B. But yeah, I love the series. I plan on rereading it starting in the summer if the world is still around. Yeah, I'm really excited to go back into this. I was on a YouTube break when I started it, so I didn't do any reviews until book 7. I apologize for that, but my mental health was not well last year, so I had to take a long break, and Malazan pulled me back out. So the series means a lot to me. I love it. I don't think I would be who I am today without Malazan. This has really greatly influenced my taste since I finished the series last year. And I love it. I think that's it for today, though. I don't want to go too much longer, but thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.